Welcome to the Heart of Ohio Antique Center. We're doing another interview here. We've got one of our dealers. This is Scott. I'm Jacob, and
I'm Josh.
We're here at the Heart of Ohio. We want to bring to you some interesting perspective on furniture, refinishing furniture, and the values of some of the furniture market, and insight to some of the industry. So, Scott, just a background on Scott. I've known him for a long time, and he is a master restorer, master refinisher, is what I would describe him as. So I think probably has the best finish of anyone that I've ever seen. If you're trying to bring something back just with a great finish on it, he is the guy to do his job. Scott, again, this is your first time doing an interview with us, but what we would like to know is, before we get into today's market stuff, how did you actually get involved in restoring furniture? Like, give us some background on this whole thing.
We started in 1983.
Okay.
And in Clark County, there were 6 people in Clark County at that time doing restorations.
Okay. Now in the 80s, it was really popular.
That was the thing to do.
It was the thing to do in the 80s.
Everybody, all of our friends, when I got married in 1980, of course we didn't have any money, so we went to auctions, we went to flea markets, and we bought the old furniture, all beat up.
Remaking it.
Do you remember, Josh, when we used to have the Donaldsville auction, we had to strip some of that stuff ourselves when Mom and Dad we'd be down there scrubbing and stripping.
Yeah, Mom would do that all the time, and she'd have us up there, and we redid some walls and stuff, and it was a process.
I was blown away at
what it takes to actually to redo furniture.
I started out stripping by hand, and that took about a year, and I was over that.
Yeah.
And I bought my first strip system.
I wish we got over it in a year. Dad, boys, get in here and get some stripping done.
I bought my first strip system in '84. Roger Davis, which runs my strip system, joined me in '85.
Okay.
And he still strips today.
So why did you do it? Just because you needed to have furniture for the house? What's the passion and the story behind?
Yeah. Well, we loved antiques. I grew up with antiques. My ex-wife grew up with antiques in an old farmhouse in Greenville, Ohio.
Yeah.
And we just thought, and all of our friends, that was the thing to do, was go antiquing.
Something that blew me away when we started stripping furniture was how it would actually bubble. I would be like, I gotta touch this, and that stuff would actually come off after a while. That was
a methylene chloride based stripper. You were probably using zip strip.
Yes,
strippy.
Zip something.
Zip strip.
Woo!
That has about 13%.
That's why we're still
that's why I can't remember half the things we're supposed to now.
Yeah. That's why Roger has 3 eyes, but we won't talk about that.
Okay, so you started in the 80s.
So we started in the 80s, and there was a huge demand for finished furniture.
Okay.
Everybody wanted their furniture nice. And so I started doing the shows, the Springfield Antique Show. Every month we did the show. We'd sell out every month. The market was huge back then, and I wish it was like that today, but it's not. Things have changed.
Things have definitely changed.
Yeah.
So you're doing that in the 80s. You're stripping the stuff. You're putting your finishes on it. You're going to shows and you're selling out, and that's how you started to develop your craft.
Yes.
And so you got better as you were selling at the shows. You got better at the finishes.
Yeah. Sell
faster, and then over time. So let's fast forward. Over time, how many pieces of furniture do you think you've actually refurbished, refinished, stripped, cleaned, put back together?
I was thinking the other day, how many gallons of stripper have I used? Probably thousands of gallons. We use 50 to 70 gallons a month at our current shop, at our current location. And we buy it by the 55-gallon drum. Let's talk about finishes. I used to use Daconite Rubbed Effect lacquer. It was a nitrocellulose lacquer. And the finishes today, I use all NanoChem product. It's made in Elkhart, Indiana.
Okay.
And
you hand finish everything.
Yes.
It's all elbow grease.
It's all rubbed out. I rub out we spray all of our finishes. Mm-hmm. And then we rub out with 600 into the lot.
Now, what about if I'm this guy? I'm like, man, I love this old finish, but it just needs some little bit touching up here. But I like that pure old finish stuff. What can you do with someone like that?
We can do a spray over.
Okay.
We have a product made by NanoChem.
Does that just kind of bring a little new life to it, or
yes?
Okay.
I don't have a piece that I've sprayed over in my booth right now, but it's a acrylic urethane, water base, and it plays well with everything. Shellacs, lacquers, polyurethanes. It doesn't care.
Okay. Okay.
And it rubs out.
So
the
I
same.
got grandma's piece of furniture, mom and dad's piece of furniture, and I kind of messed it up at some point in my life. And I'm like, hey, I got to get this thing back. I don't want to take the finish off, but I bring it down to you. You take and you do this method. What kind of time frame am I looking at? Like if I bring you I don't know, just a standard 4-drawer chest, then I say, hey, I want the kind of a spray over, and just to get it cleaned up, where I can, and then tighten anything up that might not may be loose or whatever. What
we
kind of
work
time
out
frame?
4 to 6 weeks.
4 to 6 weeks
What
out.
we're booking
Okay.
out right now.
Okay.
And then when my booth gets
Now,
empty,
4 to 6 weeks, you're booked out. What happens as far as like when you start the process then of that piece? Once you start on it, how long would it take you to do an entire piece?
Well, let's take for instance that cylinder desk.
Yeah, right behind us.
We'll strip that out. Let's say we strip that on a Monday.
Mm-hmm.
We'll be putting finish on it by Thursday.
Okay. So you're
it's a
4
fairly
days
quick-
from strip to finish, and then after you start putting finish on, how much more time does it take to get it finished out and
2
waxed?
days.
So we're looking at about a week of
About a
work
week,
on a piece.
yeah.
So I could expect if I've got a chest, I'm wanting to bring it in 4 to 6 weeks out before you can get it in, but once I drop it off and you actually start the work,
We'll
it's
be done in a
about
week.
a week.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That's pretty cool.
We have three people working for me. Roger Davis, and then Dave and John do all the. So the piece starts in the strip room. That's where we start.
So you got strippers down there.
Then we have Roger has a shirt that says "Stripping professionally since 1985."
One way to get business out here at the Heart, we start stripping everything. Everything. I don't know.
Or lose business.
Or lose business.
Might
we
run
run
off.
everybody off.
So it starts in the strip room. We tear the piece completely apart, get rid of all the hardware, put it in a bag, mark it. The bag follows through the process.
Do you clean the hardware?
Yes, we try to keep the original hardware, and if not, we have 4 or 5 suppliers that make museum quality reproductions.
Yeah.
And
Well, you picked up some old ones from us about 5-6 weeks ago.
Yep.
Came down, found a nice set. It was good to help you out on that.
yeah, I always like to use the old if I can. You know.
Now, Josh, we got hardware here, old hardware here at the Antique Center in several booths as well.
Yeah,
correct.
Some's up in the showcases. We have some in some of the booths.
Well, when we got a
try to
hardware
keep it all-
dealer that has
Yeah.
Victorian hardware in building 8. Building 8,
Building
yes.
I shop that.
You
a
shop
lot.
that booth a lot. So yeah. So if you're trying to find some vintage hardware as well, come to the Heart and you can pick some of that
There's a
up.
lot of it
There's
here.
a lot of it here.
Because it's
There's some
expensive.
bins down here as well.
Yeah.
I've seen some down here.
Yeah, to replace all those poles on that through Whitechapel, you're probably looking at $70.
Yeah.
And if I'm only missing one,
Replace them all.
you know, you got to replace
Yeah,
them all
yeah,
if
make them
you can't find them.
So Master Restore over here, he's talking a little bit about some of the stuff he's done, but I'd like to pick your brain a little bit about the change in the industry over the past 25, 30 years, because you've been in this for a long time. Like you said, you used to go to a show and you would just sell out instantly. So we're sitting at an oak table right now. This is tell us about this table. What's the age of this one?
This table's probably turn of the century, 1910, 20.
So 1900, 1920, somewhere between.
Yeah.
It's
solid oak. It's
Yeah.
not veneered. It's got the nice claw feet with the nails.
Okay, claw feet. Now, what would this table have
Yeah, they
been
look
priced
impressive.
at the peak of oak furniture? Like, what would you have sold this for?
600.
$600, and if it had leaves, if it had 4 or 5, 6 leaves, even more. I'm
Oh
assuming.
yeah.
So
yep. 800.
800 with, and this is a smaller one. This is what a
42. I
42.
believe.
Okay. So this specific piece today, what do you have it priced at?
I think I've got
Price
three.
tags up front here. Let's look. $395.
$395,
$395.
and they're going to get a 10% off that.
Right.
So you're looking at $350 range for this table, and it would be double that in its heyday, 8, 10, 15 years ago. It would have been double that.
And
Now,
if you brought me this table
yeah,
to say, Scott, I want you to strip and finish this table as it is, you're looking at $300.
so you're looking at
So they're getting the table for free.
So this table
my
to
finish.
get refinished
It's a
would
really
be
good price for the process that it takes. That's an awesome price.
a $300 refinish. The table's only priced at $350. So everything in your booth here at the Heart of Ohio Antique Center, I know you put a sign up, and before you took this booth, you said, I only want to do this if I can put a sign up explaining what? Tell me why you wanted to sign and what you wanted to talk about.
Well, I wanted to make sure that people knew what they were getting, because
Okay.
there's a lot of value in restoration. I like to call it. Try to get out of the mentality of strip and finish. You know, we restored.
I like that. That's true.
A mantle came through my door, 1820s farmhouse, solid walnut mantle, had pieces missing. You know, they're using square nails to mount it and pulling it off the wall, and there's not a piece of putty in that mantle. I patched all the bad.
When you say you
like the
patched, you're talking about
carvings
by
and-
wood.
By
you actually
wood.
put wood back into the.
Yes, he had some extra walnut from the trim. I had him bring a piece in. I actually used the walnut that they used to make that mantle
Right.
to make the patches, and you cannot see it. You can't find them.
So you're describing the process of restoring a piece of furniture. So one thing about your restoring, there's a chest right here behind me. I haven't tried this yet, but look at that. See how smooth that opens and how smooth that shuts? When you're done with a piece, what is this? This is an 1820s Chippendale
Chippendale, yep.
bracket foot chest, 1830, somewhere in there. And that operates like a brand new custom built piece of
Yes.
furniture. Okay, so here's another example. This chest is priced at $495. If I was to go to a furniture maker today, pick one of the
Gary
brands,
Keener.
Ethan Allen, well, even the manufactured companies like an Ethan Allen or something, and buy a 4-drawer solid mahogany chest.
That's cherry.
It doesn't matter, mahogany,
Yeah.
cherry, walnut,
Yeah.
any of it, right? If I'm looking at paying thousands, $1,500 to $2,500, and if you go
And
to a
you're
custom
getting-
cabinet maker, you're even doubling again.
Yes.
And this is period completely restored where it opens that smooth, and it's $495 price. That's going to be about $450 after their 10% discount.
That's correct. We went through the chest. We replaced all the drawer slides, guides, and drawer stops, and re-glued it, and it's good for another 200 years.
200 years. So if talk to some of our customers, maybe we've got some people that have never really bought antique furniture that's been restored. They're worried about should I buy a refinished piece, a restored piece or not? Just trying to talk through that a little bit.
You can always. Here's what I'd like to tell people, because for years people have been taught that it's a sin to strip and finish furniture, and that's not correct. It's only applies to the furniture that maybe 3% of the furniture that is museum quality. It's survived wonderfully through the years. Those pieces are hard to find. I have a butterfly table at home, Tiger Maple. It's in the furniture treasury book, that, dated about 1690,
And it's untouched.
and it's untouched.
Now that table.
I would ruin the value of that
So
table.
let's talk about that. What's that table valued at the way it sits?
3,000,
What would it be worth if you stripped it?
2,000.
So you're going to lose 1,000 or maybe even more, and it could be worth more. So maybe 50% if you take a good period finish off of a good solid
That's
period
correct.
piece of furniture.
That's correct.
So-
Scott, if they have a piece that they're not sure about, is that something they could come to you and say, "Hey, this is what I've got," and show you,
Sure.
and you're
Yeah.
going to give them, you're going to give
I'm
them that
gonna give them
opinion
an
on what
honest-
should.
honest
opinion.
assessment.
Yeah.
I have had people come through my shop that I've told them I wouldn't
Wouldn't
do
strip
it.
that. Yeah. Well, see, I know a lot of some of the Wing Griffin oak furniture and some of that with those old finishes on it that we used to sell for big money. If it was stripped, it wouldn't bring as much.
Right.
Again, a third less. And so it doesn't have to be necessarily period pieces. It could even be 1940s and 50s designer pieces that are still untouched. There's a group of people out there that love purity. They just want everything untouched, pure finish, pure grunge. Whether it's painted furniture or if it's 1950s mid-century stuff, it's just untouched the way it was made at the factory. But that's a small group of people.
That's a small group of people, and with my urethanes that I can do spray over, I can still do a spray over on an original piece, and it still retains its integrity.
Yeah.
It still has the patina.
Freshens it up a
It
little
doesn't
bit.
remove the patina.
Well, the patina is what we're talking about.
And that's exactly what we're talking
So can you,
about.
for our viewers that don't know what a patina is, what do you mean when you say the word patina?
Wood changes with age. Finish changes. Cherry gets dark with age. That's mahogany, Queen Anne. Well, the camera can't see it, but when that was built, that was much lighter.
Lighter, yeah. And it's just darkened over time.
Darkened over time, and that's the patina. It's a richness that you gain.
And even the finish starts dulling off,
It
correct?
does.
Yeah, yeah.
It does.
And it starts to get like a, I call it grunge, because I love that word, grunge, but it gets that grunge feeling going on where you can just tell, oh, this piece is pure. That's what when I was collecting folk art and antiques, 18th, 19th century furniture, that's what I wanted. I wanted that untouched, pure, piece. And I still think there's a massive market for those kinds of things. But like you're referring to, there's so much other stuff out here that's not that kind of thing. So, so what we want to bring to our viewers today is just a little bit of understanding of what you do, what this booth is. We are what is this booth number? 1116.
1116.
1116. So booth 1116. He's got maybe 12, 15 pieces of furniture in here. He's rotating stuff as he sells all the time. But you can come here to this booth and you can buy something, and everything in this booth is completely restored.
Not
like
everything like that. I didn't touch that piece, but
Didn't touch.
90%.
90% of it.
90% of what's in
and you
here.
got signs in here explaining that. Like,
Yes.
hey, this is why this stuff looks and acts like brand new pieces, but the furniture itself is a fraction of the cost of buying something brand new, and the quality of this stuff. How long do you think like this stuff's going to be around still? If you just take care of it.
Well, I've had a lot of conversations about the antiques of tomorrow. You know, this stuff, if you take care of it, this can be stripped and finished. My finish should last a lifetime if you take care of it. I've got the most durable finish on the market. I'll put my finish against any finish out there. But what, you know, with it being solid wood, this chest, 150 years is going to be wore out again. It's going to need new slides, but it's solid wood.
Right.
So it can be done.
It can be done again. And yeah, it could be done as
So
many
it's really,
times
as long
want
as
it.
you maintain your furniture and you take care of it, this stuff, buying solid antique furniture from the 18th, 19th, 20th century, it's going to last another 100, 200, 300
It's
years.
the best value out there.
The best value out there. You buy something today, most of the stuff that's made today is different processes, completely press boards and glued pieces together, laminated.
Just last week we had somebody come in and they were like, I want to buy a piece of furniture for my grandchildren and I want it to last. And they were like, where can I go? I sent them this way. I said, there's all kinds of stuff in this mall. I said, stop down, check out this booth. And what I love, the comments that come out of here is, this looks like brand new furniture. The shine, for me, I love your finish. Jacob's a grunge guy. I love this stuff.
Grunge and slick.
Yeah,
My entire
it's
house.
just so nice when you put it in the house. If you're, you know, say you're putting furniture in a new home, this stuff is gonna pop. It's gonna look great.
And you
That's
buy
what
it
I love
for
about it.
a value. Like you're
Yeah,
getting
it's
great
an actual
value.
value
And it's
on the
not
furniture.
it's not going to be worth nothing in 20, 40, 50 years. It's going to have some
It's
kind
still
of a
going to hold its value, even
What
if
I
you do have
tell
to put a finish
what
on
I
it.
tell people is when it leaves my shop, it's leaving in the condition it was when it was built 200 years ago.
Yeah.
And you can see it.
Yeah, only my
That's
finish
Okay.
is better.
Let's do a couple
great.
fun stories here. What is the most interesting piece of furniture you've ever owned?
Wow. I'm not sure what that would
Give
be.
me a top
Oh, I
one or
know.
two then. Just
I know
of
one
them.
that's interesting.
that he had, or you got. That he had.
It's his now. The roll top desk.
There we go. Tell him the story on
that's
that
a
desk.
neat,
That's
neat
a good
story, right?
So in 2015, I rented Bruce Knight's old antique shop, and he's had that for I don't know, 40 years.
The antique shop.
Yes.
I used to walk in the 80s. You'd walk in the door. There was a counter right here, and that roll top sat right there against the wall.
Big 60-inch roll top
Big
desk.
60-inch,
Raised panel.
gorgeous raised panel all the
Great
way around.
grunge
courtesy
finish
panel.
on it.
Great grunge finish, which we're going to lose that.
Oh, it's killing me! It's killing me!
It's going
It's
to
gonna
look
look sharp.
like
I
the
guarantee
day
it's gonna look
it
sharp.
left the cabinet shop.
Yeah.
That's the way it's going to look. And so I sacrificed a desk. I've already sold that desk, and I'm going to refinish this one,
And then you're going to take that home.
and I'm taking it home.
Yeah. That's
And
a fun
It's
piece.
going
And
to
you
be
know
the
what?
only piece of oak that's in my house.
But you know what? To know the story behind that, and we've known Bruce our whole lives, and what a great story that you have a piece of furniture that was part of his shop, building the antique industry in Springfield, and you're renting that shop, and now you're going to take that piece home with you. That you're right.
That's a cool
story.
When you were telling me about it, when we first were looking at it, I was like, that's got to go with him. That's just a really
So some background
story.
on that. So the desk we're referring to. When we bought the antique center, we bought all of the antiques that Bruce and Vivian had as part of Knight's Antiques, and so we bought the antique center and then all of their inventory. And that desk was actually in one of the warehouses that they still use at the time. And so we knew that Scott had the building down there, and so we talked to him, and we worked out a little bit of a trade, and we kind of worked it out. And Scott is getting that desk, but it's the perfect fit. It needed to go to his home. And so that's what the desk that we're referring to. Well, Josh, how about you? How about like something in the furniture market that you've gotten or you've kept or you like or something interesting for you?
I got a really cool corner cupboard. It's beautiful. It's got an old finish on it, which it looks great in the place that it has.
Is it 16 pane?
Yes.
On each side,
Yep,
right?
16 pane.
18th century cherry.
Yes.
Untouched finish.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a gorgeous
It's
piece.
really neat.
Don't strip that. Don't let him.
Don't let him get his
Don't
hands
let
on
him
it.
get his hands on that.
Not everything
It'll
should
hurt
be
the
stripped.
value now.
What's
Not everything
fun-
That
should be
one
stripped.
should not be.
I like arts and crafts too, so I've got that sitting there, and then I've got some arts and crafts in. But the way it all meshes together, it looks great. I've kind of got my eye on this walnut hanging cupboard you got back here.
Yeah, that's a nice
It's
one.
sharp.
Yeah,
It is sharp.
I'm pretty sure that one was an old finish at one point. Wasn't
It was.
when
You
bought
said,
that
"Don't
one,
touch it."
I said, "Don't touch that finish," and he went and refinished. Now he likes it.
It looks great. Yeah, it's just different taste.
Different taste.
It really is.
My second favorite piece is a piece that a local cabinet maker built.
Who was it?
Bill Bader.
Okay.
Do you remember Bill
No.
Bader out
No.
on Hominy Ridge? He built in 1969. He signed it
Okay.
and built a one-door tiger maple corner cupboard. But the tiger stripe in this, the striping is
Like done stock grade quality. stuff.
musical.
Musical
which
box
is-
quality.
yeah.
Even better, huh?
Yeah, even better than gun stock.
Yeah, so like violin quality.
Yes.
In other words. Okay. Yeah.
and it is just absolutely gorgeous. Well, I was at the auction,
So where this
and
piece
Bruce showed up, and I thought, oh. So I told Bruce, I said, hey, I'm going to buy this for the house, and he let me buy it. So I paid $1,000 for this. It's unbelievable. In the '80s, that would have brought $6,000.
Okay. So talking about that piece, this is an interesting little story of how this business works and what happens over time. And so Bruce passed on 4 years ago or somewhere close to that. He sold you a piece that you sold back to me that I sold to Bruce that I was with Bruce in Europe on when I bought it. Do you remember that?
I remember that.
So backstory on the piece first, then you can explain your part of the story. So I bought it this French mid 1800s, 1840, 1850 French Tramp Art Box with a couple drawers on the bottom. We bought it when we were in Europe, and Bruce was on the trip with me. And when I bought it, Bruce wanted it really bad, and I didn't want to sell anything. I kept it for myself, took it home. But we sold our collection, and when I had an auction, I sold everything I owned in furniture and everything, all of our antiques. Bruce bought it. Now, I'll let you tell from the story from there.
So I was at the Heart, and Bruce had a staging area where he would stage things before he'd bring them out to the booth. And I checked that box out, and I said, oh, that's cool. So I called Bruce that night and said, hey, how much are you asking for that box? He said, I'll take, I think it was $800 for it. And I said, I'll take it. At the same time, Janet called you, I believe.
Yeah.
And no, she talked to Bruce the next day, and she said, "How, Bruce? I sold the box to Jacob." And he said, "No, I sold it to Scott last night." So I ended up with the box.
But that was how many years ago?
Oh my,
10 years ago?
at least 10.
12, 15, when I sold all my stuff. Okay, and so Bruce bought it, and I was going to buy it back from him. He bought it at the auction. We just sold it all unreserved, and Bruce bought some stuff. You bought it off of him. You kept it for 10 or 12 years, and then what happened a few months ago?
I sold it back to you.
He sold it back to me. So it flew from France. It flew to I got it to my house. It went to Bruce's shop. Bruce's house. Into his shop. Then to his house. Stayed there for 10 years, and then it came back to my house. And now I got it sitting in my office at home, and I treasure it because of the story behind it. Like for me, it's one of my favorite things in the house now. It's crazy how this goes in circles, isn't it?
It is.
15 years ago, you guys were doing all that. I was sitting on a floor in a jail. But I was on the good side.
Josh has been in jail for 20 years, just if you don't know that. But he was on the
Man, I
the
missed out
other
on
side.
some good stuff here, right?
Yeah.
It's, you know, I've really enjoyed the antiques. I collect miniatures and apprentice pieces. That's why I sold that box back to you, because I replaced it with an apprentice piece.
Yeah, you wanted the apprentice piece instead, and you were like, Jacob, I'm going to sell this box. I know it came from you.
Yeah.
Do you want to buy it? And I was like, yeah.
We are wall-to-wall furniture in my house, and my girlfriend says if you bring something home, you have to take something out.
You're to that point.
I'm to that point. And so I'm just upgrading.
They called you to the office.
Oh, I didn't hear it. All right, I gotta go. We're gonna wrap this up.
Like we're in high school.
We're
getting called to the office.
I'm getting called to the office. I'm not sure. We're at the heart of Ohio, right? There, during opening hours in here. We're just making this video. So just a last little tightening up here. Scott, if you were interested in having him restore your items, he said he would give anyone that's one of our customers a 10% discount. So if you say you've seen this video and you mention us, you're gonna get 10% off. Or if you come here to the Heart, we'll give you the contact information. And again, he's 4 to 6 weeks out. I also shot some video here at his shop. I'm going to show you some behind the scenes there as well. We'll tie it together. And don't forget to like us, subscribe to our YouTube channels. So we have Heart of Ohio Antiques, at Heart of Ohio Antiques, and then also at Burner Brother Antiques. Doing some behind the scenes on what Josh and I do every day in this antiques industry as well. So we will see you guys soon. We appreciate it. Thank you so much for coming out and letting us talk to you.
Thank you, Josh.
So Scott, we're down here at your shop, and just explain what you were just telling me about this mantle, this project that you're working on.
Well, it's a 200-year-old mantle, and a lady from Plain City is having an Amish company build her home, and she wants to use this mantle. The trim is cherry, and she wants me to match the mantle.
So she wants you to make this cherry finish on this mantle.
Yes.
Okay, so is that hard?
That's difficult. Pine is very soft wood, and it really soaks up the stains, so whatever I use is going to go super dark. So I'm going to start off with a really light stain base, and then I'll be introducing dyes, and it'll take some time to get there, but we'll be able to get that pretty close.
Okay, can you just kind of explain the process of your shop here, what all you got? Because you got stuff everywhere. Like you got furniture, you got sanders, you got strip tanks, you got everything.
We've got a 5x10 flow over system in the back room.
Okay.
It's just a big trough about that deep, and the chemical flows over the piece, and then we scrub it with brushes to remove the finish. Then we pressure wash it to neutralize the chemical, and then when the piece dries out, it comes out here to the front room. Then we do all the repairs to the piece at that point.
So what do you got going on with this bed right here, for example?
Well, this was a bed that was built by David T. Smith, a custom bed for a customer, and it is, the posts are 200-year-old white walnut, and the base wood here is sapelli, which is an African mahogany, and then we have curly maple.
Okay.
So I'm going to match all the stain colors to finish the bed for him.
Okay, cool. So what is this thing here? What do you got going on?
Well,
show some of your equipment.
This is a thickness planer, 20-inch thickness planer. I buy most of my lumber from Kime Lumber.
Okay.
Rough sawn, 5/4. We buy mahogany, cherry, walnut, tiger maple, whatever we need, and then we dress it here. The first step is to dress your boards, get everything squared up. I've got a 20-inch planer. We have a Delta Unisol 3-phase over here. We have a drum sander. We have a jet shaper. We have a, I'll show you a piece, Jacob. that was fun to do.
Oh wow, look at that. Tiger maple, cherry. Look at this chest back here. This is gorgeous.
Yeah, that's sold to a customer, and it never made it to the heart of Ohio. I sold it out of here. Now this is a cool piece.
Look at the tiger maple on this. Look at the finish down here.
So I bought this for $20
Yeah.
from Kay Puckstein.
Okay.
It was missing. All this was gone. Well, actually, that piece was completely gone. This piece was completely gone.
So you had to
This was
you had
gone.
to actually go back in and copy and rebuild this. Now, how old is this mirror originally?
Probably late 1800s.
So late 1800s mirror, and you've rebuilt the entire thing.
Yes.
And you've got it all finished out.
Yes.
Perfect.
And I've got the gold on it, and David T. Smith is making a eagle.
Oh, nice. Okay. Look at the gold work.
That's all done by hand.
All done by
Everything's done in this shop. We cut all this out of curly maple on a scroll saw. That's the saw I use to do all the scroll work. Then we have a joiner here, 20-inch disc sander.
So we're gonna have you up to Hart and maybe on the interview, and we're gonna throw this in between, and we'll talk about your booth up there and some of that, and like what the finishes are, and some of your insights, and
We do all different type. Finishing is our forte. We do all the different finishes. We do the crackle finish. I carry a line of Windsor chairs that are hand built in Pennsylvania. The Golden Lamb in Lebanon just bought 50 of them. And we did a tiger maple seats, clear tiger maple with a black crackle over red on the rest of the chair.
Okay.
And so we use conversion varnishes, lacquers, just depends on what the customer wants.
Cool. All right. Sounds good. Appreciate you, Scott, on the insight back here.
Okay, Jacob.